Cool. Well, what's up?
Nothing much, man.
Yeah, kind of just taking this Thursday head on.
There we go. Very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Over the
How's
hump.
work been at the studio recently?
It's been good now that we like officially opened the doors. It's kind of just getting the standard rotation of clientele back in. They've all just been kind of like waiting on a date to start booking, and now they're just figuring out their calendars. And you kind of realize that there's not that many weekends in the summer, and everybody wants to get to work, but
Yeah.
you gotta space it out. So, but yeah, can't complain. The work's there, and people are digging the new space, and when they come out, they want to come back. So it's been
Oh
good.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
it's fucking gorgeous. So
Thank you, thank you.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's a very nice space.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's took a lot of work and a lot of time to find the right spot, but yeah, I've just been tired of being in like basements. So I've like, as soon as I could get like some decent, height to my ceilings and windows, I was like, I'm all about this. Let's go. So
Yeah.
Pull the
I'm
trigger.
yeah,
Full send.
yes,
yeah.
sir. Yeah,
I'm in a windowless room right now. I feel it. It would be nice
yeah.
to have a little bit of natural light in here at some
Oh
point.
yeah. It's funny. I got this space with all these windows, and then like I wanted to start shooting video a lot more. And as I'm working with these videographers and stuff, they're like, "Can we block all these windows?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, it's kind of yeah. So I got these big heavy duty curtains and stuff, which helps with like the sound reflection too. But
Yeah.
when I'm in there tracking and stuff, I keep the windows open. But for video shoots and mixing, it's good to close them up and be able to control the
Mm.
light. But just something I never thought about prior to trying to do more video stuff, but you live and you learn.
Yeah. It does kind of
Totally.
seem like in a room like that, you're balancing like acoustics with just like aesthetic and like
Oh yeah, for sure.
comfortability, I guess, just
Yeah,
comfort. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Because the natural light, and I also love just like the trees and everything that you have on the walls. Like the theme
yeah.
is great, honestly.
It is.
Thank you. Yeah, I tried to tie in because my wife, she owns like the part of the farm that's like the event space slash like flower farm. So tried to tie in some of that without being super floral, and kind of like you're on a farm, so but it's also a studio, so tried to relate a little bit, and that's kind of why I changed the name to Bloomhouse Audio to be all under that same umbrella,
Yeah,
and that way if people go to the website for the flower farm and the events, maybe they'll somebody has an interest in music and they come over to me, or vice versa. If they go to the studio and someone's getting married, they need flowers or space, it's all right here. So
it's great. Yeah,
yeah,
That's awesome. How cool.
yeah. So yeah, we only have a couple months under our belt, and we're just trying to get it going. But with the event side and everything, but that's a lot to tackle with like insurance and parking lots and things like that. But take it a day at a time.
yeah, man. I mean, that's really cool that you and your wife are in like a joint business venture with this as well. I didn't know if it was just like a cool place to live, but that's awesome that it's a property that is like commercial as well.
Yeah, that was like, so that
Hmm.
was the other part that was really hard about finding something, like getting it zoned to be able to do everything that we wanted to do. So it worked out, and now it's just about logistics and building it up. And then we're trying to have like a 3-year plan of being full swing, um, which includes like an outdoor venue, spot for bands to play, more places for aesthetically pleasing video shoots and photos and stuff like that. So yeah,
Very cool.
It's
yeah,
amazing, especially with how many venues have shut down. It's amazing to hear that some people are still trying to keep the
right.
scene alive and going.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, it's harder and harder to book shows, and it's harder to find spaces that aren't like just shitty.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of
Totally.
either super DIY, or it's like over the top, and they think they're bigger than what they are. So it's like, come on,
No kidding.
yeah.
Well, you don't want to play sidebar to 20 people anymore? That's crazy.
You know what? Those are some of my favorite shows, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's enough places like that. I want something a little, I want to have something a little nicer, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's also nice that if there are concerts, then all of a sudden it's like you don't even have to go anywhere to
Right.
get your live sound money.
Oh
You're
yeah,
right
totally.
there.
Yeah.
Like,
Super
that's
sick.
super convenient. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
just like how you've managed to just condense all of that to one location. That's smart, honestly.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's we got a lot of ideas, a lot of plans, and we finally got the spot to do it. And now we're just trying to like replenish our budget by working with what we have, and then just like I said, take it a project at a time. So, but it helps to have my wife involved, and then we also have she has a business partner too who lives on the property in like a separate like guest house area that we built. So yeah, it's all coming together.
Amazing. Glad to hear
Ultimate
it.
setup.
Yeah, it's yeah, like I said, I don't know how we got so lucky. Like it checked every box, and I was just like, it was out of our budget at first, but then I wrote this letter to the guy selling it, and he was like really stoked about the idea, and he didn't want all the property to ever be like subdivided and developed on. He wanted to keep like the rural country area like just like that. So we promised him, look, we don't have any plans of that. We're not developers or anything. We just want to create a space that's friendly to creatives and friendly to everybody. So, and yeah, he dropped the asking price way down for us. So it worked
Wow.
out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So let's that's a fun thread to think about though. It's like you're saying, how did we get so lucky? Well,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's because you have been working your ass off for as long as I can remember. So you have always kind of been the guy. Like when I started, I graduated high school in 2013. So like by the time I got to the scene, like the local scene in Hartford County was like dying
Right.
at that point.
Yeah,
But
totally.
the people who were like, where do you go to record? Your name constantly popped up. Like, go to
Yeah.
Toby. Toby's the guy. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. So you're from
Yeah.
like, the generation before me, or, a good couple of years before me. So it's very, very cool that you're still doing this.
Oh yeah, yeah. If even if like I didn't have anybody willing to, pay me anything, I'd still be doing it. Even just for me and every little creation that I come up with, or I'd just be reaching out to people who I think are awesome that I'd just do it for free. It's just something that I'm always going to be doing. So yeah, I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah. So
Feel
how
the
did
exact same
you?
way.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm not recording you, I'm going to record something. So
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
it is interesting. Like I know some people who are saying if they don't have like a goal, they just kind of stagnate. And for me, it is like I might take last year. Like the winter was very slow for me last year,
yeah,
and that was my first like winter doing this full time.
right,
So I kind of didn't know what to do with myself. But after like 3 or 4 weeks, which was great, like a long vacation,
yeah,
I
yeah.
started to just dig into personal projects because I'm just fucking bored.
Oh,
Honestly.
totally, yeah.
Hits fast.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, I also found that was like the number one way to market your sources or your like your services
Yeah.
was to be in a band and record yourself. And when you're out playing shows or networking with people, they always ask like, "Hey, where your album or your EP sounds really solid. Like, where did you go?" It's like, "Oh, I did it myself. You want to do something like that? Let's go. Let's get it going." So, and then
Definitely.
you're immediately at the concerts and the shows when you're meeting new artists every day or
Yeah.
every show. So. I always recommend that to new people. It's like start a band or something, it's like, create something
Yeah.
that you can record, and then it's free marketing in a way.
Yeah. Because you literally like you can't pay people to do this. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you can't even do that. Like there was one time I was working at this smaller studio called Apollo Music Production
Yeah.
after college, and like we went to some festival at Ramsud, and we had a booth there, and we were offering like 2 hours of free recording, and nobody
Yeah.
took us up on it.
Right.
Like the entire time.
Damn
Like, you
it.
can't even give it away.
I know. Yeah. It's all about getting people in the door first, and that was the thing. It's like I don't really like pay for ads or anything
No,
like that for like the
no.
studio. It's like, and plus, when you have people come in to like your house or your basement or even just your property, it's like I don't want random people. Like, so I just keep it word of mouth, and it's like if you're, all these bands or artists, chances are they're in probably like one or two other projects with different people, and it's like they just keep circling back, and then that band ends or dies and they start something else, and it's just like a never ending cycle. So the word of mouth thing is great because you trust everybody. Most people that come through, or they've been there in some capacity before, and there's no guessing game. Half the time you don't even have to do that real formal sit down meet and greet. It's just, oh, what band were you in? Oh yeah, I remember working on that. Yeah, you want to do something similar? Cool. All right.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Just because, like you said, it's your house, and
Yeah.
I live in Baltimore, so um, yeah, if I just let random, like, I've worked with rap a lot in the past, but
Oh
recently I
yeah.
really haven't. And I think in the past it was because I had a separate location that was, being, was
Right.
somebody else's property.
Yeah.
But like I'd have people come in and like occasionally they'd like have guns and it's like, ooh, shit.
Sketchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want
Safety
that in my
alarms.
house. I had a
Right.
guy I had a guy who was like a known dealer, like a coke
Yeah.
dealer, and he
Yeah.
like did a deal when we were at the studio. My boss looked at him, he's like, you can't fucking do that here.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've
So
been I've been paid in all ones, ridiculous forms of bills, crumpled up stuff. It's yeah, I've been there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
it's
that
kind of
never
it's like,
happens with word of mouth. Yeah,
oh
word of
yeah,
mouth is
yeah,
always
right.
pleasant.
Yeah, it's like if I'm like moonlighting somewhere, or like working at a, like I said, like a commercial space, like it's a little easier. But the other thing with that is like I can't people to pay the extra money. It's like they hear what we do at my space or what we've done in like a basement, and it's like, why am I going to spend $50 extra an hour to go to some big space? It's like, unless they really are trying to shoot some video that requires that, or like they need like a gigantic drum room. These reverb IRs are pretty solid, so they'll just stay, where they are, and save some money. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny.
I mean, I feel the same way. I'm working on an album right now, and this is the first time I've recorded drums in this location, and the ceilings are super fucking low in our
Yeah,
basement. It's like 6'4" in the basement. It's
gotcha.
so
Yeah.
low, and yet,
Awkwardly small.
like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yet, like, I feel like just with smart mic placement and like blending mics, it kind of doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's a big stone basement still. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
just ended
that's.
up using more room
Mm-hmm.
than overheads, and it sounds like a big drum room.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, with stone walls and probably concrete, floors,
Yeah.
like you got enough natural ambience in there, or just completely deaden it and put that drum set wherever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think people have been slowly and now in recent years more quickly realizing that like you can get really good results just basically anywhere as long as you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, and these, drum layering and triggering is so prominent now that, like I said, you could take a terribly recorded drum set as long as you have a decent attack on something and
yeah.
make it better, at least, usable. So, which I'm really stoked on everything that, just the tech industry is doing for recording, and just making it, I've never been one of those like old heads, like screaming from the mountaintops that you got to use analog and stuff. It's like, no, I'd rather use this modeling mic and the Kemper and keep it all
Yeah.
like straight. Like, let's do it. Like, who cares? We can record in your basement. I don't, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I've almost always been completely in
Yeah.
the box. Like yeah, I was when I worked at Apollo, we did have like, an 1176 or like an
Right.
LA2A, and
Yeah.
like that's cool, but you know,
Yeah.
am I gonna route it to mix with it? Fuck no.
Right. Yeah. No.
Like,
Now
Mm.
going in front end, like keep it as as real as possible, I guess, as analog as you can,
yeah.
and once I'm in the box, after I've, used my channel strips and stuff like that out of the box, like I don't ever really route stuff out anymore. So it's just more convenient,
Yeah.
Totally.
no more mix recalls and all that stuff that you got to like
Ugh,
take pictures and take notes. It's like, it's all there.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's saved. Yeah.
And then you move it to those settings and it still doesn't sound the same.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, it's a little more humid today, so that transistor's not reacting the same.
Yeah. Oh
Man.
God.
Oh
Such a pain in the ass.
yeah.
So around what year did you get started playing music?
It was probably 2003, 2000, yeah, so 2002, 2000, early 2000s, like 13,
Amazing.
14-year-old, eighth grade, ninth grade, starting a band. And yeah, our first show was at Rock for a Cure in like Bel Air, some festival they threw back in the day, and my band sucked, but I met a lot of people, and yeah, so it's funny because it's like I grew up in like like overly Baltimore City area, but when I was a teenager, we moved out to like Harford County, so I kind of that's where I cut cut it in like the music industry, I guess, or the scene. Like
That
I got
explains why your name came up so much, because I'm from Bel Air as well.
I gotcha. Yeah. I went to Falston High School, and that's like kind of
Okay.
kind of where I started, recording and meeting people and that. But I kept a lot of like friends, like I used to skate with, growing up in like Baltimore and stuff. So I kind of was able to like double dip into both scenes a little bit. So
Very nice.
yeah. But yeah, Bel Air just had like then, man, there were so many bands and so
Yeah.
many shows all the time, and it was just like there was never a weekend where I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to this church or this like fire hall or this, gym, to see a band. And like now it's like pulling teeth. Like I'm begging
Yeah.
people to send me show flyers. It's like, because I just want to get out there and network. But yeah, it's just not the same. But
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with that. I know that like the fire hall or
yeah,
the armory or whatever it was eventually just like, we don't like the kids are smoking pot and
right,
having
right.
sex
Yeah.
in the bathroom, and
Yeah.
which is like fair,
Right.
yeah, it is crazy to me that like that all stopped. And when I joined the scene, it was like right
Yeah.
after that it all died. So I have people 2 years older than me talking about how amazing it was,
Oh, yeah.
and then I'm
Yeah.
there at 15. I'm like, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
travel to the city.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you where to go in Harford County to see a show that's not
Doesn't
like a
exist.
bar band or a cover artist, with an acoustic guitar in the back of the bar, so it's like, yeah, you'd have to tell me, but if it's not there, it's not there.
It's not. There's
Yeah.
nothing. Hartford
Gotcha.
County is fucking desolate, man. I
Yeah.
was just aching to get away from there as quickly as possible. So,
I hear you.
I moved to Annapolis. It wasn't that great of a place, and then
No.
I came to Baltimore. No,
Yeah.
man, I don't own a yacht, so I didn't fit in
Right.
Annapolis.
Yeah, totally. Where do you live, Andrew? Where are you from?
I'm in Northern California,
Okay.
Eureka. Yeah,
Gotcha.
all of this sounds very familiar.
I gotcha. Yeah.
About the same. The scene, I mean, since COVID, this is the first year that it started to come back pretty well.
Gotcha.
Shows are
Yeah.
coming back prominently, but even before that, like you're saying, cover bands and bar bands, it's all
Yep.
good fun. You get to go hang out with friends and
Right.
something to do in a small town. But
Yeah.
the farthest place for like a higher grade show, if you want to call it that, whatever it would be, is like 3-4 hours away.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, it's crazy. There's like booking shows, and it's like all I can get are like 2-hour sets, and it's like I'm not a cover band. I don't have that much original music,
Yeah.
and I'm not learning covers, so I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I've
No
always
way.
had the opinion that like cover bands are where musicians like where their
Oh, yeah.
careers go to die. You know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like a
totally.
retirement home for somebody's music career.
It's either a
Yeah.
great place to start or a great place to end.
Totally. Yeah.
Man, I had this drummer one time in a band. It was like we were like a Breaking Benjamin copy, and it was cool. Like it was one of the bands I was in that picked up a lot more traction. And the drummer was sick. He was crazy, but he kept being like, I can't commit to these gigs. I'm not making as much money as I am with my cover band.
The covers.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
That's a plus, man. People
It
like
is.
hearing the Beatles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you'll always get gigs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two different
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of people though, There's people who have like a message they have to get out or like an
Yeah.
emotion, and then there's people who just, I don't know, they're just able
Yeah.
to not do that and be happy. I feel like I'm the fucked up one, actually.
Nah, I don't think so. But yeah, I just, I never made music for the money, I never like
No.
really
Mhm.
started recording for the money. So it's like I've always been able to just work or write what I want, and work with who I want. So, and at the end of the day, if you're not cool and I tell you no, it's like I'm not going to fight for your business. You can go be somebody else's pain in the ass.
No,
So,
100%.
no,
It sounds great.
yeah.
yeah. Well, I think part of not having to be so desperate for clients is just like
Yeah.
diversifying your income,
Mhm.
honestly, just not relying
Yep.
on this as being your sole source. Like for me, I'm like the stereotype of all the audio guys. I found a church that had a good system and they didn't know how
Yeah.
to use it.
Oh
So
yeah,
churches pay well,
they do. They
tax-free
do.
money.
Oh yeah, I know. I
That's
used
Oh
to
yeah.
do
great.
I used to do pro audio sales at Guitar Center,
Hmm.
and I would just always look for the pastors because
Mm.
they love spending everybody else's money, and they're all in competition with each other, so they always want to one up. And on
Yeah.
commission, I was like, "Oh, well, did you hear what that other church just got? They just got that brand new, QSC rig, and it's loud." And they're like, "Oh, well, what's better than that?" It's like, "Well, I got to specially order you something, but we'll get you set up."
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, so that would be my advice to younger me, would just be like, hey, stop being such a diva. Just like
Mm, I feel
you
it.
know. I mean, I never wanted to go into the world of corporate audio because that just something about that kind of rubbed me wrong. But
I
I
gotcha. Yeah.
mean, people who can do that, like that's great money as
Right.
well, honestly. I'm sure I would have been fine with it if I actually did it, but I had long hair and they were asking me to cut my hair. I was like, I'm not doing that.
I
Fuck
gotcha.
Really?
that. Yeah. Dude, I had hair like as long as yours, Andrew. I had long hair when I was
What?
younger. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow, I can't picture that. That's wild.
It's curly. It's like curly cues. It's fucking
Okay.
wild.
Okay. So what, in this
Yeah.
audio place actually said they wanted you to cut your hair? Is it they're
Well,
sticklers
it was
like other corps?
corporate audio. It was like setting up meetings for, boardrooms and stuff and just making sure mics were working and
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. I pictured like corporate recording studios.
Oh yeah.
I was like, man,
I
those things seem pretty free.
yeah. I did the corporate install for a while, like just
Hmm.
installing AV equipment for a bunch of people, and that actually taught me a lot, like how to like solder cables and like all the
Mm.
back end stuff, which was pretty important, and a lot of like computer stuff, audio and everything like that, which is pretty important, and all the network, because audio is just all over network these days, like with Dante
Hmm.
and all the Cat
Yeah.
5 stuff coming out, so which makes it pretty sick. But yeah, I'm my day job is like kind of like corporate audio, kind
Mm.
of, but it's more it's remote, like design work, so which is cool.
It's really
Um,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, just designing the technology that goes into these classrooms, lecture halls, and multimedia recording spaces. And you're basically just spending someone else's money. And then they find people to install it. And then you come in at the end and you're like, oh, it's working. It sounds good. Give it the stamp of the approval, and then move
Very
on. So
nice.
yeah, it's pretty fun. And
So
like I
you're
said,
actually
it's
earning the engineer part of audio engineer there.
yes, definitely engineering, and there's a whole separate like designer world, which is cool. Because you almost turn into like an influencer for
Mm.
like audiovisual tech, because like
Hmm.
all these companies hit you up and send you demos and stuff, and then they want you convincing the higher ups to use that in like the entire campus.
Oh
Interesting.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But like you said, it's nothing creative. It's like make this room sound good for all these students and the person giving a lecture, and that's it. Which,
Hmm.
like you said, it's simple, it's easy, it's mind numbing, but it allows you to be a little more flexible with your creative outlets.
Sure. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah,
That has been something I've been learning since just deciding to do this full time is like
yeah.
I spent a decent amount of money last year on like a new guitar, some treatment, and the year before that I bought a computer, and then last year's taxes were, ooh,
Oh yeah.
oh boy. Now with 1099 income only, ouch.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
learning that maybe I should be a bit more frugal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Painful.
Ah, dude, fuck. You'll see
Yeah.
it this year, Andrew, because you're reporting some of your stuff, right, from this last
Yeah.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
save up some money, my man.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh God. Not excited.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
chaotic.
Yeah, it was like I was like when I first became, like, I guess, got my LLC going, because like all the guys that I worked like at Guitar Center with, like, yeah, you got to get an LLC for like the first 3 years. You don't have to make money, and you get tax returns on everything you buy. And I'm like, oh, cool, all right. And then 3 years came and went, and now I'm like, oh shit, it's the real deal now. Now I gotta be like, if I'm not claiming profit, like, you get in trouble. So
Ooh,
it's like you gotta be,
Man,
yeah. So
daunting.
yeah, but it's cool. It's all right. You learn a lot that you didn't learn in high school about taxes and how to run a business. But I definitely recommend an accountant. That's that
Mm.
saved my ass a lot,
I'm
a
sure.
lot of headaches. Yeah, so but that's the shit that nobody likes to talk about, or when
Yeah.
you're doing this thing, it's like, oh, taxes and all that. Nah, it's not fun.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
most boring part of it,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure. All the
for
math,
sure. Yeah, yeah,
paperwork. Who the hell wants to do that?
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Not.
necessary, because like that's what
Oh yeah,
allows you the freedom of mind, not having to
Oh
worry
yeah,
about that shit to actually
totally.
create. Like if you're
yeah,
stressed
Yeah.
about money or taxes, like I've been tracking my income a lot better this year and like tracking my write-offs, and like there's
yeah.
no stress about the end of the year. There's not going to be a crunch to get it all
Right.
prepared. It's just like, here it is. I know how much I've made. I know how much roughly I'm going to get taxed on it. Easy.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, I've been using
Boom.
this accounting tool that's free. It's called Wave Apps, like kind of like Wave
Hmm.
the plugins, but
write that down.
um, it you just link your bank account and it automatically, like once you like define some categories, it'll automatically categorize your expenses. You can create
Hmm.
invoices and gives you like breakdowns and tax like
Wow.
forms at the end of the year. And once I started doing that, like taxes have been a breeze with my accountant. Just here's the income, here's the expenses, here's the receipts, because it auto documents all your receipts based
Oh,
on
wow.
if you use like the same bank account, or so
Mhm.
that's something I recommend. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely note that if you're having trouble with record keeping, it does it all for you, and then like I said, it's free. So
Oh, fuck, that's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, my
I,
I have a buddy out in LA, and he was like, you got to get this for your records, man. It's like it saved my ass. So I was like, all right. So, and not a lot of shit's free these days, and or if it is, it
Yeah.
sucks, and then it tries to get you to buy stuff later. But this is not that at
Yeah.
all. So yeah,
Surprised something like that would be free.
I know. Yeah, right.
they'll get you.
But
Maybe in like 5 years, they'll start charging for
yeah,
it. They're probably just getting a customer base at this point.
yeah, they
Yeah.
tried to
Huh.
like they'll try to get you to like sign up for TurboTax, but like if you have
Mhm.
like an accountant or if you know how to do it yourself, you don't need to go through all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like I said, just for the automated like what I spend on my studio card or what comes in on the bank account, like it's automatically categorized, keeps all your clientele lists. So you just like who sent you this, keep a list, and you
Ah,
can even get a breakdown of like I always like reward like my top clients for the year with like a free song or something, and they
mm,
give me a quick breakdown of like who spent the most with me, so
That's
which
that's
sweet.
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. All
So
right. So numbers and taxes are fun,
yeah, screw
but
that.
yeah. So okay. So you're playing in bands in the early 2000s,
Yeah.
and what got you into recording in the first place? What was the biggest motivating factor?
Um, well, it kind of started like I said, just with starting a band and knowing nothing about it. And my dad has always been like an audio guy. He DJ'd all his life and still does, and has always had like turntables, tape decks, things like that around. So like we were just in the basement jamming, and they were like, how can we demo something out? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, well, I asked my dad. I was like, you got anything? He's like, well, I got this old tape recorder. Like it's got some line inputs, and I see you got a mixer. You could plug that in. And I'm like, all right, let's try it. And I don't know, like as soon as like just connecting it all and hearing like what's going on in that room played back on like a little cassette deck, I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. And then just learning like how much shit can change from just like a couple of inches of moving a mic or like,
Dude,
you
yeah.
know, it's like I didn't have to change anything other than like just moving this thing or turning it around and just like trying to come up with new sounds and new ways. I just became I don't know, like some things just click with you, and I became obsessed with just like sound design and capturing stuff, So, and
Totally.
that's kind of how it started. Just like I said, just being in a band and no one knowing what to do, and my dad had some equipment, and just started running with it, and then figuring out how to improve, on that. I kind of have like an obsessive personality when it comes to shit like that, so you just
Guilty. Yeah.
yeah you just become obsessed with learning and improving that sort of thing, and yeah, that's kind of how it got going. And I still have some of those recordings, and they're terrible, but they defined what I was going to do, so always appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's
For
super
me,
cool.
super similar. Like I just had a band and we wanted to record some demos, and we had one microphone and it was a Rock Band microphone,
Hell yeah.
USB. So we would
Yeah.
just plug that into my laptop and like figure out what the best place in the room was to put it.
Yeah.
I think we ended up just doing it like in front of the kick drum, and it would kind of capture almost everything and still
Right.
give us
Right.
like somewhat of a low end. And but yeah, something about that was so fun. I don't know, man. That
Yeah.
just kind of got me hooked. And then just like every moron when you're like 16, I cracked a bunch of plugins and stuff and
Mm-hmm.
bricked my computer in a couple of months. But while I was
Yeah.
messing with that stuff, I was like, this is like, holy shit.
Right.
This goes deep,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then like, just doing that through high school. And then like, I've never been like really into it's never been in my head to like, I'm going to go to college or something. And, my parents like, well, you got to figure something out. You got to do something, like, it's like, all right, it's either like a trade, go to college, or a tech school. And I was like, well, I really like this recording thing. So I ended up finding that place, Sheffield, and I went there
Mm.
to kind of please my parents so they wouldn't try to make me go to like a 4-year college, and then ended up, like I said, obsessing over that too, and like being like, oh, like this is what a studio is, and this is what it's all about. And the teachers there were dealers for like M Audio and Pro Tools and stuff, and I
Mm.
Nice.
built a rig, and it was in, I guess, like that really terrible era of the digital audio setup. Like it was like digital was like kind of coming around, but it wasn't perfected yet like it is now. So, but like I wasn't going to get tape or reel to reel, like no way.
Yeah.
But so
Totally.
you kind of deal with what you had. And yeah, just recording my own band and then convincing my dumbass friends to come over and like do mock songs, like fake hip hop shit, and just to
Mm.
like learn about it. And yeah, kind of blah. And then just playing in shows and convincing bands to let me record them for free. And it sucked at first, but you just keep at it.
So were you mentored by anybody in particular, or has this been mostly self-taught outside of Sheffield?
Yeah, so it was Sheffield to start, and then just kind of doing my own thing for a while, and then kind of like a year before like COVID really hit, I did a mentorship with Jay Moss.
Oh wow, no
Yeah,
shit.
I don't know. Yeah, so obviously, I guess you know him. Really cool guy. Like he's one of my favorite engineers, and he was just kind of like just starting doing this mentorship thing, and like he posted on his Instagram, and I knew a couple of friends of mine that have recorded with him, and sent him some of my demo mixes, and he was like, yeah, let's run with it. And like I was like I guess one of his first like people to mentor, so it was
Oh shit.
worked out really well.
Okay, I'm just looking at his discography just to refresh myself. Like, yeah, a lot of great sounding stuff here, like Citizen, Defeater,
Yeah,
State Chance,
Wow.
counterparts. Yeah, yeah,
Counterparts. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That counterparts record was like kind of like what I was like. Ah, yeah, like that. That shit sounds so good. So
Nails it.
yeah, yeah, and just his drum sounds, man. That was like I'm really like I cannot play drums at all, but like recording drums and getting a solid drum sound like naturally is like something like I love doing. So,
It's my
and
favorite.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
It's just
hearing
fun.
his drum sounds just was like, yeah, I gotta learn what you're doing, man. So yeah, mentored under him for I think it was like almost I think was it like 4 to 6 months almost. Yeah,
Mm.
I
Was that
think.
in person or was that an online thing?
It was like mainly virtual. Like it was just
Wow.
bouncing, mixing. It was all mixed mentorship because it was kind of like to the point where he kind of like I guess understood that I understood how to track, and like engineering, capturing was fine. It was like I just need I'm really want to get better at just the mix process. So
Mm.
it was sending him all my mixes that I've done. He would like we would do a Zoom thing and he would like virtually mix it and just open my eyes with all the shit I didn't see or hear. And yeah, it was great. He has like tons of pre-recorded stuff that he'll just give you access to, like and then lets you like mix sessions that he's recording. So he would send you stuff and then you'd mix it, then you'd get on a Zoom call and kind of contrast and compare the two mixes,
Mm.
like his and
Very
mine,
cool.
So it was definitely just like super real, down to earth, like no ego, no like hidden, no gatekeeping of like how to do stuff. It was awesome. I really that was probably one of the best experiences I could talk. I could have.
Man, I feel like I got to do something like that.
Hey
Like
man, hit him
just
up. Yeah, he opens his mentorship up like every now and then. So maybe follow him on Instagram and he'll
sure,
post
yeah.
it like in his stories and stuff. Like, hey, I'm taking on more people now. And dude, it was really, really mind blowing.
Yeah. I think, there's like a progression when you're just doing it on your own where like you
Yeah,
will steadily get better at it.
right.
Hmm.
But whenever you're learning under somebody, it's like exponential, like that you
Oh yeah.
just like shoot
Oh,
way up.
totally.
And
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the plateau happening with like my mix
yeah,
skills and I was like I'm on YouTube every day. I'm doing these mix with the masters. I did the what's it the Joey Sturgis class, the nail the mix
yeah.
thing. Did that for a
Hmm.
little bit cuz like especially like broadening like genres that you're not used to working with. Like I'd always do that. I'd find some nail the mix or mix with the masters of a genre that I'm not used to working with and try and do that. But it was just like I say, it's just a video. You don't get to ask questions. You don't get
Hmm.
to like really dive deep. And then yeah, like when you're working one on one with somebody, like I mean, I could just hit them up with anything, like anything that I was stumped on, get an immediate answer from someone who's done it time and time again. And
It's really cool.
yeah,
Makes a big difference.
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And like I said, he was just like I said, no egos there. It was just trying to help. So definitely,
Yeah.
if you could find something like that, I recommend it.
Mm.
Especially if it's someone like you genuinely respect. Yeah.
I mean, even the nail the mix
Sheesh.
stuff helped me a shit
Oh
ton,
yeah,
big
yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
That was game changing. But to
Yeah.
be able to like actually converse with them, because it still left me with questions, and there's
Right.
a whole
Mm.
world of things that I just have no idea about. It'd be cool to like hear
Yeah.
from experience what those things are, how to do them, and when, kind of just their
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah. I really liked that. Like I never did the live stuff. I always just downloaded the courses after, which I probably should have done the live in person, but I got that from Jay. So like that was like what I stuck with. But yeah, just kind of like I said, I never did like a lot of pop punk back in the day, and then like that started coming
Yeah,
around again. So I started doing like the state champs, nail the mixes and stuff like that,
very
just to
nice.
just to figure out how to get that modern, big pop punk sound, and it translates a lot with music these days. So yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, that drum sound kind of just fits
yeah,
everywhere. Like
yeah,
that is
for
Yeah,
like the
sure.
metalcore drum sound. That's
Yeah,
the rock
it's
drum
just
sound.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like every kick drum for a while there was like, this is the metalcore kick drum, and it's
This is kick
it was
10.
like
This is
yeah,
kick
kick
10.
10, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, now it's all modern and massive get good drums.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking good
Things sound
sounding, but
great.
They do. They're mix
yeah.
ready.
Yeah,
And
when it comes to stuff like that where producers get hung up on like everybody's using the sample, I kind of
yeah,
just don't care. I'm like, does it
I don't
work?
care.
Does it sound good?
Yeah,
None of the
because
the listener's never gonna give a shit.
well, 9 times out of 10, the band that's sending you like a reference mix is referencing a mix that's using that exact sound. So it's like if that's why I like try to tell like I understand you have your sound, like you have you're an artist, like I get it, but also there is this fine line of so much stuff has already been done. So if you can just like cut through the veil, cut through the bullshit, and just be real with me and say like I'm trying to be this band and this band combined. It's like okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to do, or at least the sound.
Yeah.
It's like you're always
Totally.
referencing a mix that's already been done or sound that's already been done. I don't see another Beatles coming around anytime soon. Who knows? Maybe it's surprised me, but it's just
I
like let's yeah.
I think in order for like and this is gonna get either really pretentious or really philosophical for a second. I'll let you decide which, but it seems like in order for something like a Beatles to come around or something like a Nirvana or a Guns N' Roses or whatever it is, it's like the peak of their genre, right? And
Yeah,
and afterwards the genre usually like fucking dies because people
right.
are like, where do you go with this? I have no idea. But with the last band that we had that was like that, I would say the only one that actually reached across genres was like Nirvana, right?
Yeah.
And instead of the genre dying, people are still trying to just basically play Nirvana songs.
Oh yeah. I mean it's funny, man. These like everything comes back again, It's like
Mm,
we
Hmm.
did like the everyone was doing that 90s grunge thing. Now
mm-hmm,
everybody was doing the synth pop sound. Now, retro wave is back again, what's popular defines, music in a way. It's like, now everybody's doing the Stranger Things again. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No kidding.
Like I hopped back on. I've been writing a lot of like shoegazier stuff for the last
Yeah.
like maybe 2 years, just because shoegazy and like also like new wave, like post punk,
Right.
like that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Just
Yeah.
because one of my buddies played something he wrote, and I'm like, it just reached down into like a core memory I had
Yeah.
of being in the car with like my dad. He played stuff
Oh
with
yeah.
him, like, oh shit, like that is like,
Right.
what is that? That's
Yeah.
scratching an itch I didn't know I had. And fuck, man. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I wonder what's next. Is new metal already kind of had a comeback in like the 2010s, so I guess it's not going to be new metal, but
Yeah, I don't know. There's a
maybe
lot. Metalcore, I feel like it's gonna come back.
yeah,
That
like MySpace era.
yeah, yeah. And
That'd be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it does. Like I was at a show like my whole thing now that I have the new space, like I'm trying to go to as many local shows as possible. I've been to like 6 this month, and I'm really, now that I'm begging people to send me flyers and stuff. And I got surprised. Like I went to see a band that I work with, and it was a bunch of metalcore bands that played after them, and they're not even metalcore. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, this promoter mainly books like this type of stuff. I was like, I didn't even know this stuff was going on anymore. Like, this is sick. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
It
could
seems like
be a thing.
it seems like deathcore is also getting like a huge, like with bands like
Yeah.
Lorna Shore and Spirit
Right.
Box blowing up. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Spirit Box is, it's hard to really define them, but they're whatever they are massive right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very big.
Yeah, I went to the last TID this season in Buffalo. We would go every year because it always followed on my birthday, and now every time I die is no longer around. But
R.I.P.
Yeah,
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. But the last one before they broke up, Spirit Box played, and I have never seen a tighter band in like the past like probably decade. They were
Wow.
they crushed it, like killed it, and just like just her presence on stage, and just like everybody was just moving, man, front to back. It was great.
That's
Knocked
the
Loose,
girl from
Knocked Loose almost
Knocked
had the
Loose.
same energy. They played right before them, and then they like the vocalist from Knocked Loose came out and did a song with Spirit Box, and it was epic. But
That's cool.
Nasty.
yeah.
Man, Knocked Loose, that was a big one for me in like college. Like that,
Right.
like their first
Oh,
their first
good.
EP and like their split they did after that. I was like, this is the craziest shit. Why is nobody paying attention?
Right.
And then they blew up. I'm like, okay, well deserved. Like well deserved.
Absolutely deserved. Man.
Yeah, they're crushing it.
Oh man, yeah, that's like for me, that's kind of the world I come from more as the heavier side of things. Like I liked metalcore. I had a stage where like I was listening to Attack Attack. I'm like, this is great, hell yeah. But but for me, I've always been more interested in like as disgusting as music can get.
I gotcha.
At least with heavier music, I tend to gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
Like in my spare time, I actually listen to just really relaxing music.
Right. I gotcha.
I'm gonna go heavy, go all the way, in my opinion. But
totally.
But yeah, it does seem like that metalcore style is coming back. Like See You Space Cowboy came out a couple years ago. That's a cool band. I think was it Strawberry Ambulance or Strawberry Hospital, or it's another really fucking crazy band. Daughters came back. That was weird.
Yeah,
that was
weird.
That's very cool though.
Yeah,
man, I'm excited. I think that's one of the most exciting things about the modern era, because there's not a lot to be excited for. This music and technology.
Yeah,
those two things are mind blowing.
Yeah, I was having a conversation like we're always just like, where did all the rock bands go? Like, there's no, don't throw Imagine Dragons at me. Like where's like, I think the last really awesome like just band like I could think of was like the Killers,
Yeah,
and like just nobody was just doing their thing, So it's I'm hoping for like a rock revival, like even like
that would be fun.
Like just like older Foo Fighters, even, just anything that's just like, because like especially with the studio nowadays, like I guess speaking more from experience, like everybody is just like a singer songwriter coming in and wanting to do more. It's like start a band, like go out there and start a band. So I did the band thing for a while, and like trying to schedule and getting everybody together sucks. It's like I get it, but it's like you're just gonna have to schedule session guys or something and pay them. It's
Yeah.
like find some people. They're out there.
Yeah. I have a lot of those in my clientele as well. I mean, it's fun for me because then I get to help them write music,
Right.
which is my
Yeah.
favorite part of the job.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big difference when a band comes in. They're like, "Here's our album. It's fully written.
Yeah.
Like, here you
And then you
go."
just get to engineer. It's great.
Yeah.
And mix.
And then the drummer
Sometimes I
comes
think
in and he fucking kills it.
right.
Just like
Right.
they've been playing it for like 2 years. They're just
Yeah.
tight.
Because you can definitely stretch yourself too thin when you have to wear every hat. You got to be the producer,
Oh, yeah.
the audio engineer, the mixer, and then they want you to master it too. And it's like, damn, it's
Brutal.
like, can we get some other ears on this? Because I am like, my ears are fatigued like crazy.
Yeah.
So
I'm
but yeah,
experiencing that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
now it's just like I always try and convince, like at least tell them like, look, at least get another mastering engineer, so like I'm not stretched out that much. And in no sense do I ever claim to be a mastering engineer. It's just sometimes people take your mix and just try and release it. It's like no, please don't do that. Yeah. So it's like at least throw it up on Lander or something and get a master, some digital master. But
Yeah. I've been experiencing kind of that like burnout of your ears with this last project I've been doing.
Yeah.
Because like when I was younger, I used to do entire albums and I didn't have a problem with it. But I guess like as you keep doing it, your process gets more and more in depth, like each part of it. So now like I've been doing this album with this band. We've been working on it. They can only work on weekends, but it's fine. Like I just take care of like editing and pre-mixing during the weeks. And like perspective is gone at this point. After like, 40 hours of drum editing the whole album in like a 3-day time period, like you're fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah, it's like that's why it's like get fresh ears on it. Get someone who's like not worn out, a little more stoked about the project, and they will literally take it further than I could because I'm done at this point. Yeah.
It makes me feel like I need to start next time I take a project this big, even though I'll make less money, I might just have to be like, hey, here's this much money, take care of the editing, please.
Yeah. Right.
Totally.
I can focus on the parts that I actually care for. Because editing is like, it's
not
it's
great.
cool making it sound better. Like the end result is great.
Yeah.
But during it, it's just like key command, listen back. Did it fuck up? No, it didn't. Cool, move on. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Figure out why it fucked up. Like, oh man.
Yeah, it's and then dealing like if you, especially if you like if you're hired as a mix engineer and you get something that hasn't been edited and it's like or like the roles haven't been defined, it's like look man, I'm your engineer who was in the room with you probably should have tuned your vocals so you guys could have talked, your in-person tracking, or you guys probably should have done the drum edits while you were in the studio recording, just in case you couldn't get it, But now I gotta figure something out. But yeah, it's tough. So sometimes
if drum edits aren't done, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say sometimes that's what makes it easier about being able to do everything yourself, because at least like it's gonna be all right,
Yeah. There's a standard that you're gonna do it to. But, man, I've had bands like bring me a song and the drums haven't been edited, but like everything's been tracked to those unedited drums.
To those unedited drums. Oh yeah.
Oh god.
There's no way that's ever going to sound good.
No.
Luckily, the last time this happened, it was like kind of like a soul like song from like the 70s ish, like that era. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't need to be super tight. Like that kind of works for it. But for a metalcore band, fuck no.
No.
Gotta be tight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not time stretching guitar chugs to match the kick drum. It's like, nah, just do it again. It's like here's the edited drums, like figured out. Just send me DIs at least. But yeah, it's tough.
I've gotten some stuff where it just wasn't done to a click track at all, and they're trying to do tempo changes throughout the song.
Oh yeah.
So everything's like so far off that these stretches are just so awkward sounding. And sometimes it can kind of work, but most of the time it's just a pain in the ass, and I'll send it to them back and say, can you please redo this to a click track?
Right. Yeah. No copy and pasting. You ain't getting away with any of it. Even if they're like trying to like stack takes and like cut from other takes, it's like you might not be able to because you weren't on you have no sense of pocket and you have no sense of click. So we gotta figure something out. But
totally.
Yeah, I would love to one day record a band that is so tight it's just them in the room and I'm like, just play. That'd be great, but I've not found that band yet. There was a jazz band I recorded in college, or like a jazzy singer-songwriting band, and those musicians were great, but metal musicians aren't jazz players.
Oh no, yeah. Well, that's kind of like now, like that's more of my clientele. It's like, especially because that's kind of why I designed this new studio to be one big modular open space, is because I'm working with a lot of bands that like to track together and they're tight enough to do it. And having all these separate, ISO booths and stuff, they always wanted to be in the same room. So it's like, all right, well, now we can. And with having like a lot of this modern recording stuff, you can be in the same room without having to super isolate, because like the glory that is the Kemper and Axe effects and stuff like that. And it just makes life a lot easier. So, and the vibe is there. Like I'm not doing too much metal these days, like a couple things like throwback stuff, but no tight knit like prog stuff or metalcore stuff anymore. Like I said, I just don't think it's around as much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely have started to enjoy more of the vibe heavy, artists and tracking and stuff like that. So yeah. And then a lot of these singer-songwriters, like I said, when they need drummers or session musicians, you're hiring solid ass people. So you can just stick them all in the same room and let's roll with it. And yeah, you can always take away, you can't add. So I just throw it all up and see what happens. So
yeah. So we've got we're approaching an hour, so we've got 10 minutes. Why don't we start talking about
already
the personal project? Yeah, I know. Just flew by,
wow.
man. Yeah. So let's start talking about the personal projects you have going on, like Night Hunts. Very, very cool music. What's going on with that?
We were kind of took some downtime, with the whole COVID stuff and me moving and building a new space. So now that, my studio is up and simultaneously we have a practice space again, we're starting to jam. We got some shows coming up, and we got, I've always stayed writing, so I got a ton of music demoed out, skeletons ready to go. It's just about laying it down. And we got some stuff in the works that we'll hopefully be putting out in the near future. And then other than that, I'm focusing just on like producing more, just writing for other people. And I'm doing like a lot of like stuff just to kind of, not necessarily like sync heavy stuff, but like lo-fi and chill type stuff, like stuff that you can put on. Like streams are always there, people always want to listen to it. You can throw a live setup on YouTube, or put a playlist together, and people just will put it on while they're cleaning, or or stuff like that. So which has been cool, a lot more electronic heavy and instrumental stuff, so I don't have to like strain myself with writing lyrics and stuff like that. So yeah. I don't know. I've been having the itch to do heavy stuff again, so I've been reaching out to people and seeing what we can get going. And I'm working with a couple people with, sending me riffs and stuff, and trying to find a drummer. And I don't know, we might get some yelling stuff going again. So we'll see. But
looking forward to it, man.
Yeah,
it's exciting, man.
Yeah. The lo-fi electronic stuff has been fun. Like I got on the vaporwave train a couple years ago.
Yeah,
I started.
I was listening to your stuff when you were putting that out. It was awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's definitely up my alley.
I got so burned out, but I have 20 or 30 songs, and some of them are fully mixed. I got to just start putting them out again, honestly.
Yeah.
And we should collab sometime.
Definitely.
Because I see the synth stuff you're doing. I'm like, fuck, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, man. It's just some days when you don't have a mix project or something, but you want to be in a studio, it's just I'll just connect all the synths and see what happens. Run through it. And like I said, doing a live set of lo-fi house or dance music or just chill stuff, throwing that stuff up on YouTube, I've gotten more plays and reactions to that type of stuff than shit that my entire band has done and poured sweat and tears into, to record. It's this 5-minute track that I just came up with in a couple hours has gotten more reactions just because it's what people are into. So
sometimes it's as simple as just going on Splice and just combining samples, chopping and screwing, and then all of a sudden you have something amazing. You're like, oh shit, I never would have thought of that.
Splice is my best friend. And then I also got recently been working with TrackLib, which is a
TrackLib.
So they give you sampling real tracks and the license right away, and royalty splits, so you can you can sample from, do that whole like lo-fi type of stuff and use like legit songs and not worry about copyright stuff because it's all there. Like,
That's amazing.
Wow.
yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, and the licenses are split up to where it's like pretty affordable. Like the base license is like $50, and like that's like 90% of the stuff that's on there. And then you just give the writer, like, I think it's like 2 to 5% of your royalties.
That's
like
really not
extremely
much.
minimal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's for up to 15 seconds of sample. So you could like cut like a 15-second sample out. That doesn't mean like only 15 seconds of your song. You could loop that 15 seconds for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
It's still that $50, 5% royalty
Man,
split. So
Wow.
if you're doing
that's
like
cool.
if you're trying to produce like boom bap or hip hop stuff for people, like it's a game changer for that type of stuff. Or just dance music,
Gotta take note
lo-fi
of
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. Talking about getting out of the box a little.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and like if you're affiliated with like BMI or ASCAP or
Mm.
anything like that, they give you all of those numbers for the people you're sampling, so you can just plug it in. Like I just did one
Oh
today,
man.
and set up a release, and I got it done in like 20 minutes with all the royalties of the
Wow.
two co-writers and everything. So yeah,
So sick.
yeah. Definitely recommend it.
I need to get back into electronic. I've just been playing, like I bought a Jazz Master last
Oh
year. So
yeah,
for like the last like 6 or 7 months, I've just been nonstop playing it. But I'm getting
oh
the
yeah, man.
itch. I opened Ableton for the
Like I
first
said,
time in a while.
it all
Mhm.
cycles back. It's like,
Yeah.
for a while there. That's why like I have like two things. I'll have a band, like the Night Hums thing, where I can get in a room with my guys and jam and write, indie stuff or whatever. And then I just have like that lo-fi electronic stuff that even if nobody's available, I can still put stuff out, and throw stuff up somewhere or throw it at the sync library and hope get
Mm.
picked up somewhere. So yeah, diversified,
Yeah. I
Definitely.
started doing Andrew and I started working with an indie label, and
Okay.
I recently just did like a gear review. So they just gave me a fucking like a guitar pedal, some random company, right?
Oh hell yeah. Yeah.
Like, and now I did that video and I put in like a lot of time trying to learn video editing for it. And
Yeah.
already the guys, like a ton of more sponsors are interested after that video.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
man.
I guess that's going to be a new source of income.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I do it. I can imagine how many people are just sitting on YouTube, like watching those videos,
Yeah.
and it's like half
Oh
the
yeah.
time, like you get on there and you watch your algorithm gets piled up with based on what you click on. And half of these engineers, producers are just doing the YouTube thing these days. They've gone
Yep.
away from even like getting face to face with people and just doing gear reviews or just recording themselves and just doing like the studio tour thing is huge. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's you can like I said, diversify and get out there and make money in all sorts of different ways these days. So
For me, it's like a necessity. I won't get super into it, but I'm dealing with like some undiagnosed autoimmune thing right now. So
okay.
I can't go do much.
Yeah.
So it's either I work from home
Right.
or I don't work. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Mm.
home. I'm just trying shit. And it is kind of amazing. Like I like
Yeah.
seeing people, but also like it's cool not seeing people.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't
Oh
bother
yeah.
me.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely a hermit, but that's why I was like, I got to break out of this, and that's why I've like made it a goal of this year to, like I said, just to go as many
Yeah.
shows as possible and just
Totally.
network for the new studio and just help the scene out. Like that's always been my thing, and that's why I kind of think like back then, like with the when Harvard County was really jumping off, like people were coming to me because like I didn't charge, I still don't charge a lot, like it's just
Hmm.
about I just want Maryland to be a good spot for music. And like the more we help people out, the more shows are going to come back, the more bands are going to come around. And nowadays it's easier than ever to release music. So it's like, yeah, let's just get it going.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, Toby, it has been a fucking pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes, definitely has been.
Yeah. Well, I'm down for any sort of collabs, any sort of, project splits or anything, man. Like I said, I'll send some stuff your way as well. And,
Please. Yeah.
yeah, we'll get it. We'll get the work flowing.
Absolutely, man.
Sick.
Well,
Yeah.
let's end this with just a funny personal story. So when I said you were kind of like the name that everybody said back then, when you're a young buck engineer and you think you're the shit for the first couple of years until you realize that you're fucking atrocious. Like you were like the guy to beat. It was like I'm gonna like fuck that, I can be better. And then you get more experience and realize, okay, Toby has like a decade on me. Like Toby's always gonna be better than me because Toby has been doing this long.
Yeah.
But as a young kid, you're like, fuck, man, like I'm so good. I can do it. So it's really cool just to be able to chat with you.
That is like one of the first times I've ever heard that. But let me tell you that there's everybody has someone like that you're just trying to beat, and like, so hey, it's all friendly comp.
Yeah.
I don't even like to say competition, because like I'm just in this to help everybody out. From mixing, mastering engineers to just bands or dudes in their bedroom trying to figure out a better way to record. It's like, I'll help you. I don't care. It's not taken away from me, or, like I said, I hate the people that were like gatekeeping all that information. It's just like, come on, and if I teach you how to record or show you like gear to get, you might send the mix my way. So it's like, it definitely helps everybody. So
that's been my mindset for the last like 2 years as well. Like my mentor, one of my mentors was super business oriented. And then after like that business went under, I was like, okay, maybe he didn't do things perfectly. Right. So I've been reassessing and just being cooler. Like I taught some of my clients just basic producing, and now I don't have to do any of the recording. They just send me shit now.
It's amazing.
Great. I love it.
I love being able to just get artists like a basic vocal recording rig too. Because then it's like it's so personal, and it's like me as a when I if I didn't know how to track myself, like I don't know if I would be able to get performances out in like a studio with like everybody listening, hyper listening to me and everything I'm doing. And so it's like, if you're more comfortable at home, like I'll let you borrow stuff. Like take this preamp, take this mic, take this reflection filter, like just go and get me decent performances, and don't pay by the hour to be here. I don't care. Just get it done,
I don't even do hourly anymore. Fuck that. Like I'm just like, here's what the project is worth. They pay it, and then I'm like, all right, let's have fun now. Let's not look at the clock. If we want to watch some fucking YouTube video, we're not going to be wasting anybody's money. Like just hang out.
Yeah. I've gotten burned so many times by not charging hourly that I've switched back to it, but I'm totally the guy to round down on the clock and to, throw an hour at like I'd rather them be pleasantly surprised than expect, that they can just be here for 12 hours. So, and I've also like started enforcing like an 8-hour cutoff time because
smart.
Yeah, because after hour 8, everyone is just like, yeah, it's good enough. Let's keep it. Let's just move on. Like, unless we're like really crunching and rolling, I'll go as long as we have to. But I always tell them 8-hour blocks is the most.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh. So
yeah, having like a normal schedule too. Like for me, I'm like Wednesday through Sunday. That's my work week. 12 to 8. Those are the hours. Like please stay.
And defining the time. Like I'm going to be here 12 to 4. It's like, okay, now I know I can do something from 5 to whenever, and not just be like, oh, we'll show up and we'll get done when we get done. It's like, well, now my whole day's gone. So
The only time I've done hourly in the last year was when it was some guy where I just got a feeling like, I don't know this guy. Yeah. He's coming, like he's not really a friend of a friend. So I'm like, okay, we'll start him with the hourly and see how it goes. And
you definitely feel out every client, and you build, based on your relationship with them and your experience, you're your own boss, and that's what's great about it. You set it up, and you can define your rules.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
We won't waste any more of your time. We appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
Anytime.
Yeah, cool to meet you.
I'll be in touch.
Likewise, Andrew. Yeah, man. I'm in Maryland, so let's do it. Let's hang out or something. I'm trying to have an open house up at the new studio sometime soon, where I just have like a bunch of bands and fellow engineers just up and just check the space out, see if you ever want to use it. Like, 'cause I rent it out too, any spot. The whole place.
I've been thinking about using somewhere else for drums in the future, just because it'd be nice just to not do it in a tiny basement in Baltimore.
I got you. Well, let me know if you ever need it. It's always there for you. So
absolutely, man.
Amazing.
Well, all right. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, you guys do. Same.
See you, dude.
Later.
Later.